Hello YouTubers, this is Maya. I'm broadcasting out of the UK. I am very pleased if you come back to watch my little channel on the internet. It's got a small contribution to, I hope, anything that might interest you. So today is going to be just a knitting update if you like. And for those that are new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this little bit. If you're not interested in knitting, I have videos of food, videos of hair, natural hair care, DIY projects, and all sorts, even sometimes of my walks and my pets. So maybe you'll find something else. Just have a search around amongst my playlists. Right. I think that is my introduction done, and so here we go. A mini video today. What have I been up to? Not much in the knitting world. Well, remember I showed you, what did I show you on these? Well, these are finished anyway. These scrappy socks are finished. Here they go. Oh yes, I showed you the moccasin toe. Correct. The moccasin toe is what I was discussing. Well, as I've knitted these on scrappy yarn and I've done them a lot tighter than I normally do. Before I used to knit on with 24 stitches on each side. That makes 48 stitches. Or sometimes I even did 32 stitches in total. No, 30 stitches on each side, so that's 60 stitches. But I used double yarn, so I thought I'd better go down in stitch count and make them tighter than I normally do, because I find after washing them a couple of times, they do get floppier, if that's even a word. Anyway, so I did that, and I did an afterthought heel, and I thought this time I'm going to do the afterthought heel. And now don't laugh, guys, this looks really weird, but it fits to a T. I know I knit it basically to the shape of my heel, as in how it fits around the heel. Not, my heel is not this shape when I show you, obviously. But it fits like a glove on a foot, if you know what I mean. Oh God, I can't even talk today. I can't express myself today. So here we go. Here's the weird looking heel. Okay, so what I did was I did 3 rounds of plain knit when I picked up the stitches. Then I decreased every second row until row 16. No, not row 16, until I had 16 stitches left. And then I knit 3 rows, decreased, knit 3 rows, decreased, and so on and so forth until I had 10 stitches left. And then I did the Kitchener stitch. The first one I messed up because I hadn't done it for such a long time that I messed up a bit. I made a bit of a knot there instead. But as these are scrappy socks and only I'm going to be wearing them, who cares? So did the same on the second heel. Same with the second heel. You see Kitchener stitch is a lot better there. So if imagine my fist is my heel. Okay, and it turned out pretty well, the Kitchener stitch, even though I hadn't done it for such a long time. And as I said, my main problem with socks, I always wear this bit out fastest. Not so much the toe, but the heels. I don't know, it's the bottom of the heel and here towards the top. I must have an irregular foot or something. I keep rubbing the outside of the foot here. So if this happens, what I'll do is I'll just rip this all out and make a new heel. I thought that would be better than throwing away the whole sock as I have been doing, even though the effort of a Flegel heel is a lot less in the end. I'll get more wear out of this having to do, well, the cast on different and so on. So there you go. So I finished these. Actually, I finished, what's today? Wednesday. I think I finished these on last Wednesday, or was it Thursday morning? I can't really remember. Sewn in all the bits and bobs, sewn it all in, everything completely finished, except for they're not blocked. Something else I want to show you. Remember I mentioned to you on the earlier video that my one I was knitting on double pointed needles and the other I was knitting on circular needles. Now look at the difference. Okay, both are holding on the toe to toe. Look at the difference. Do you see that? Okay, the longer one is knit on DPNs. What happens, now I measured this whilst I was going along on my foot, right? So what happened is this is so densely knit, obviously so tightly knit, that it takes up more volume. So by the time I finished the sock to the length I wanted it on my foot, this is the length. Now on the circulars, which is quite a bit less, has exactly the same length on the foot, except for this is not quite so dense. I knit a lot looser. I think that's English. Is it English? A lot more loose. No, looser. And so from that point of view, when it's on the foot, it looks exactly the same. So that was my lesson learned from that. Don't mix and match. I'm not good at knitting two socks on their own, as in two single socks. This is what happens when I knit two single socks. Right, so I started my next pair. And these are almost finished. When I say almost finished, now the heel is missing. So I started with, I had another scrap yarn. Remember this scrap yarn? This is my hand-dyed yarn. This is Knit Pick Stroll, and I hand-dyed this. I made my husband some socks. They're on Ravelry. I think I posted that on Ravelry. And I did a blue. The heel's going to be blue. And I did the sock. It's also hand-dyed. I haven't shown the blue. Hang on a minute. I'll just pause you for a second and go get it. So this is the blue. It's a cool blue. And there's a cool green. And even the peachy, grapefruity colours of that will go well, because I did put flecks of green and blue into that. So, but anyway, that's the toe, no one will see us. So the heel's going to be made of the blue. Now, I wanted to show you this. I did the same mockers in toe. So, yeah, you can see it on here better. Now, let me just take the the stitch marker out. There we go. All right. So as I said, this is Knit Pick Stroll. And you see that's... I think you can see that now a bit better. Okay, the difference is here. The two things I changed. Number one, I cast on with the DPNs, same like I did on these, and until I had the amount of stitches I wanted. Now, because this was thicker yarn, I thought I'd go down some more stitches, and so I only cast on 20 on each side, so 40. Now that I think was most probably a mistake. They're super tight. Now I don't know this, with my husband's socks I made, what happened was that this got a lot softer, and it did once I had blocked them, and they did stretch. At the moment this is super, well, it feels completely unelastic, if you know what I mean. So, but I knit, so I had my 20 stitches on the needles, and then I switched, I did both cast-ons and up to my 20 stitches on each side separately on DPNs, and then I switched over to the ChiaoGoo circulars and knit up both 2 at a time. So because it was just in the round, I knit all the way up to here, 2 at a time in the round. And of course I did the same trick as I did before with having my my yarn saving line. No, what's it called? I don't know what's with my brain today. Anyway, the stitch, so that the stitches don't fall. Lifeline, there you go, lifeline down here and up on here, and in between where one can cut the heel. So I wanted to show you this for a reason, not that this is the first time you've seen it. However, what I did is, because I wasn't sure about my actual foot measurements with this yarn, it's the first time I've used this yarn for my own foot, I had to try it on. And this is why I put a lifeline in. Lifeline. Yeah, I just cut the middle, and I still had the lifeline. That way I could try on the sock to make sure that the 10 centimeters were the 10 centimeters that I needed from finish of toe to where my heel has to start. Okay, so that is why I love the lifeline idea, because if you're not sure and you're using new yarns, or for whatever reason you need to try the sock on, this makes it possible. Okay, if you've done like a million of the same yarn, million socks with the same yarn, with the same needles, with the same tightness of knitting, then you don't need it. But for me, this was necessary, so I cut it. So now I'm at the stage where I'm picking up the stitches. And another thing I wanted to show you, I am sure I've shown you this in the tutorial as to how to make the heels. I've actually on the side here picked up 2 stitches that are not stitches, just so that there's no hole created. So I just wanted to show you that. So I'll be putting in my heel. I don't think I will be able to finish not even one today, because I've got a lot going on today. So I won't be able to do that. However, as I said, these are super tight. I hope, I mean, are really, really tight. And I'm hoping that they will loosen up a little bit and become a wee bit more elastic, stretchy. If not, then next time round, I will still get them on. So that's not a problem. And it'll just be a little bit of a shoehorn job if yeah, because obviously the 20 stitches down here are not the problem. It's the 20 stitches here. Now once the heel's in, it might be a bit different. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll see. It's this bit, because I have a high arch as well. That is a bit more complicated. So we'll see. My method for this heel is going to be such, I'm going to be doing it more round than this. So if I fold this up, you see this is really, well, what you call it, almost a trapeze, yeah? So I'm going to be starting off with 3 rows, as I said, plain knit. And then I'll be doing a decrease, most probably 3 rows knit and then a decrease. And then when I get further down and I notice I'm nearly there, then I'll decrease a lot quicker. Maybe even in every row. I don't think that will be a problem with holes on the side. That's why you normally don't do every row decrease, because once you're down here and then the Kitchener stitch, that will make it more round. So I will play with it and see how it goes. I might have 2 different looking heels, I'm not sure yet. We will see. So that was my update on my knitting with a bit of an explanation. I hope that was of any interest and I hope that was useful to you for those that are knitting for maybe the first time socks or the first time they're actually doing heels that are afterthought heels. As I said, I am not used to using that, not used to knitting that many afterthought heels. I have done it before, but my go-to is always the Flegel heel because it's the easiest to knit for me. Then I've done heel and flap. I've done maybe 3 times in total. I always find that a heel, flap and heel, or whichever way around it goes, is a bit too loose, too big for me, because even with the arch consideration. So my go-tos are afterthought for the reasons I've told you, and the Flegel heel, which fits perfectly for me. So there are quite a few other heels that one can knit, and maybe I'll start knitting different ones. Fish Lips Kiss heel I have not tried. It's a bit like an afterthought heel, just with a different kind of method. I haven't got my head round to doing that yet, and would most probably need to see a video instruction for that. I have read it through, but me and the instructions, I have sometimes difficulty with interpreting instructions. It sounds weird making my own patterns, but there you go. So that is that. So maybe you'll see in the future different kinds of heels from me, but for the moment I want to hone in which is the best afterthought heel for me, which fits the best, and how one can modify those so that I can hone in the different looks. As in, like you see, this one is trapeze shaped. I've made a square shaped one. That didn't fit too nice. It was way too loose here on the sides and puckered in the boots or shoes. This one just doesn't look that nice. I would like it a bit more round, but it fits actually on the foot perfectly, like poured on. So but I don't like the look of it. So this one I'm hoping to do a bit more round and see how that goes. Just sometimes you've just got to be a bit more playful and not scared of making mistakes. If you have to rip it, talking about ripping, I've ripped these up quite a few times. I don't know. I have obviously was knitting when I was too tired and not paying attention. At one stage, it even happens to me, okay? So I know what it's like. I knit them together and I noticed like 5 rows above that I had knit them together. Okay, so I used the same yarn from that sock. So it happens even to those that have knit for a while. And then whilst trying on, the dogs come to play and they've stood on the other sock, so everything fell off the needle. I dropped stitches, so I had to rip down again, and it always happens on the cuff, right, when it's more complicated to pick up the stitches. Thank goodness this yarn isn't quite so slippery though, because otherwise it would have been a disaster. So these ones have been a work in progress, literally, and a learning process. But hey, once finished, I love them the same. Okay, see you soon. Bye.